The photograph showed pure innocence. A young girl, about 7 years old, sat on old wooden steps with her arms around a big, shaggy dog, almost as large as her. Both looked at the camera with calm, happy faces. The girl's smile, with a gap between her teeth, stood out brightly in the sepia color, and the dog's tongue hung out happily. If this story surprised you, imagine what other secrets might still be hiding in forgotten photographs. Subscribe to the channel for more true historical mysteries, hidden details, and powerful stories from the past that time almost erased. The picture, dated May 1931, was given to the Vermont Historical Society by an old woman who was cleaning out her late mother's attic. For months, it stayed in the archives, labeled simply as Unidentified Child with Dog, Depression Era. But in October 2024, when digital restoration expert James Morrison scanned it at the highest resolution, a tiny detail in the background caught his attention. It was so small that no one had noticed it for 93 years. That small detail would solve a mystery from long ago. This story is realistic fiction, based on real historical events from the Great Depression, rural life in America during the 1930s, and how old photographs can help solve mysteries. James Morrison had been fixing and restoring old photos for 15 years. He had looked at thousands of pictures from the Depression time. Families standing stiff in their best clothes, children with thin faces and tired eyes, long lines for bread in cities. But this one photo pulled him in. The quality was very good for 1931. Someone had used a nice camera, maybe a Kodak or Graflex, and the light was perfect even though it was taken outside. The girl wore a faded flower dress that was too small, with the hem high above her knees. Her feet were bare, toes curled on the warm wood. The dog, a mix of shepherd and retriever, leaned against her with clear love. James put the original print on the scanner, set it to 6,400 dpi, and began. While it worked, he read the note with the donation, found in Mother's things after she died. She never spoke about her childhood, doesn't know who the girl is or where it was taken, thought it might be useful for history. When the scan finished, James opened the file and started his normal work, fixing contrast, cleaning dust, brightening faded parts. He zoomed first on the girl's face. She had light eyes, blue or green, hard to tell in sepia, and freckles on her nose. A small scar was on her left eyebrow. Her smile looked real, reaching her eyes in a way most depression photos did not show. The dog's fur was messy but clean. Someone had looked after the animal even in hard times. A leather collar showed, worn, with a metal tag on it. James nodded to improve that part later. Then he moved to the background. The steps were part of a small house with wooden sides, once painted white but now peeling. Behind them, a screen door stood a little open, and there, James stopped. In the dark behind the screen door, almost hidden, was a face. A woman's face, pale and thin, looking out from inside the house. But what stopped his breath was her look. While the girl smiled at the camera, the woman in the shadows looked full of fear. James zoomed closer, changing brightness and contrast only in that spot. The woman's face became clear. She was young, maybe early 20s, with dark rings under her eyes and thin cheeks from hunger. Her hand held the doorframe tightly, knuckles white. Her eyes were not on the camera. They looked left, off the picture, at something or someone the photographer did not show, or did not want to show. James leaned back, heart beating fast. He had seen sadness in depression photos before, poverty, tiredness, despair, but never fear like this. Strong, fresh, deep fear, caught in a moment that was meant to show a happy child and her dog. The girl's smile now seemed different. Not fake, but careful, like she had been told to smile and was trying hard to do it. Why, and why was the woman so scared? James could not stop thinking about it. That night he made the image big, printed it poster size, and put it on his office wall. He studied every part under different lights. The more he looked, the stranger it felt. The girl's pose on the steps, was a bit odd. Her left shoulder pushed forward strangely, as if someone had placed her there and told her to stay still. The dog's ears were back, not angry, but unsure, and the woman's face, her terror was clear. The next day, James started to find out where the photo came from. The woman who gave it, Margaret Hastings, had said little, just that it was found in her mother's things in Rutland, Vermont. Her mother, Elizabeth Hastings, died at 92 and never talked about being a child. James called Margaret. "I'm trying to find out who is in the photo," he said. "Do you know anything about where your mother grew up?" "Not much," she answered. "She never spoke about her early years. I know she was born in Vermont in the Depression time, but that's all. She said she didn't remember much before age 10. Did she have brothers or sisters?" A long silence. "Not that I know." "Why?" "Just trying to learn family history," James said gently. He was not ready to tell her what he saw. After the call, James looked closely at things in the photo. He improved the house number on a post by the steps, 247. He looked at the street in the far back, unpaved, with other small houses. Rural Vermont, likely a mill town or farm area. Then he saw something else. On the steps next to the girl, hard to see at first, but clear now, was a small, old leather suitcase, worn, with initials burned in the side. E.M. James's heart beat faster. Elizabeth M. Could this be Elizabeth Hastings as a child? He called Margaret again. "What was your mother's last name before marriage?" "Morrison." "Elizabeth Morrison. Why? Did you find something?" "Morrison." E.M. The girl was Elizabeth. That meant the woman in the window. "Did your mother have a mother? Your grandmother? Do you know anything about her?" "She died when Mum was very young. Some kind of accident, I think. Mom never wanted to talk about it." James thanked her and ended the call. He stood looking at the photo, thoughts racing. A 7-year-old with a suitcase, a dog that seemed to say goodbye, a woman watching in fear, and the photographer's shadow, now clear in the bottom right corner. This was not a normal family picture. It was a moment of change, of goodbye, of something ending. But what? Why was the woman so afraid? James checked old records from Rutland, Vermont, May 1931. He needed to know what happened there. The answer came in newspaper files. In the Rutland Herald, May 15th, 1931. Children's Aid Society places 12 local children with farm families. The short article said 12 children from Rutland County, ages 4 to 10, left the day before for farms in upstate New York and Pennsylvania. The Children's Aid Society, with local help, did this to care for children whose families could not during hard times. Orphan trains. James knew about them. From 1854 to 1929, more than 200,000 children were sent from eastern cities to rural places to work on farms. The official train stopped in 1929, but sending children from poor families to farms went on quietly in the Depression. Most were not true orphans. They were taken from parents who could not feed them, parents who were told or believed the children would have better lives. James looked in digitized Rutland County children's records. In a May 1931 list, he found Elizabeth Morrison, age 7, placed with the Thornton family, Seneca County, New York. His hands shook as he wrote it down. The girl in the photo had been sent on an orphan train. The suitcase showed it. She was posed with her dog for a last picture before leaving. But who took the photo? Why did the woman look so scared? He searched more. Elizabeth's mother was Sarah Morrison, 24, widow, out-of-work seamstress. The father died in a mill accident in 1929. Then a note in the file from May 14th, 1931, chilled him. Mother protested removal. Says she can care for child. Social worker found home unfit. Too little food, bad housing, mother's mind unsure. Child taken for her safety. The woman in the window was not afraid of something outside. She was afraid of losing her daughter. She watched, helpless, as someone took a picture of the last moment before her child was taken. James looked at the photo again, tears in his eyes. The girl's smile was not joy, it was bravery. A 7-year-old holding her dog, trying to be strong as her life broke apart. Her mother in the shadows, watching her child leave, unable to stop it. The photographer's shadow now meant something else. Not family, but likely the social worker or children's aid pers on recording the removal. This photo was not a sweet picture of a Depression-era girl and dog. It was proof of forced separation. A mother's worst fear saved on paper and chemicals. A child's final moment at home, caught forever in tones that made pain look pretty. Elizabeth Hastings kept this photo all her life, but never spoke of what it meant. James reached out to the Seneca County Historical Society in New York to learn what happened to Elizabeth after placement with the Thorntons. Instead, he found something big. In a box of old undelivered mail from the 1930s, there was an envelope postmarked Rutland, Vermont, June 1931, addressed to Elizabeth Morrison, care of Thornton family, Rural Route 3, Seneca County, New York. Return address: Sarah Morrison, 247 Maple Street, Rutland, Vermont. The envelope was never opened. Likely the Thorntons refused it and sent it back. It stayed in post office records until archived. James opened it carefully. Inside, on thin paper in shaky writing, a letter dated June 3, 1931. My darling Elizabeth, I hope this finds you safe and well. I hope the people there are kind. I hope you have enough food and a warm bed. I want you to know I never wanted you to leave. They said it was the law, that I could not care for you because we had no money. They said you would have a better life on a farm with food, clothes, and school. I tried to stop them. I said I would find work, any work. I said we would be okay, but they did not listen. They said my love was not enough. They said you needed more than I could give. I held you the night before they came. I kept your face, your voice, your laugh in my mind. I wanted to run away with you. But where? No money, no family to help. They would find us and take you anyway. That morning you were so brave. You smiled for the camera as they asked. You hugged Rusty goodbye and did not cry, though I know you wanted to. You have always been the strongest, even at 7. I'm sorry I could not protect you. I'm sorry I failed as a mother, but know that every day I have loved you with all I am. You are my heart, my soul, my reason to live. I will find a way to bring you home. I promise. I will work every day, save every penny, prove I can care for you. Then we will never part again. Until then, be brave, my sweet girl. Remember you are loved more than you can know. Your mother always. Sarah. James put the letter down, tears blurring his sight. This was more than old paper. It was a mother's broken heart, kept in ink for 93 years. He had to know what happened next. Did Sarah get her daughter back? Did Elizabeth ever see the letter? Did they meet again? The answers hurt. James spent 2 weeks searching records, census lists, and old files. Sarah's story. After Elizabeth was taken, Sarah worked 3 jobs: cleaning houses, washing clothes, fixing things, saving every cent to show she could care for her daughter. By August 1931, she had money for better rent and a steady job at a textile mill. She wrote to the Children's Aid Society asking for Elizabeth back. They said no. Elizabeth was settled. Taking her away would hurt the child. Sarah wrote more times, each letter more desperate. In November 1931, she took a bus to Seneca County, found the Thornton farm, and knocked. Court papers showed the Thorntons had her arrested for trespassing. A judge said she must stay 100 miles away or go to jail. Sarah went back to Vermont. She kept working, saving, fighting. She wrote to Elizabeth every week. Letters returned or destroyed. In March 1932, she fell at work from tiredness and lack of food. She had given most of her food money for lawyer costs to get custody. She died 2 days later in Rutland Hospital at 25. The paper said pneumonia and weakness, but James Corr, ew, she died of a broken heart. Elizabeth's story. She stayed with the Thorntons 9 years, working hard on the farm from morning to night. Never adopted, just a state ward-free help. The Thorntons never told her about the letters, the visit, or her mother's death. At 16 in 1940, she left the farm. She went to Boston, worked in a factory, made a new life, married at 20, had 3 children, lived to 92. But her daughter Margaret said Elizabeth never spoke of her childhood, the Thorntons, or the mother taken from her. She kept one photo, a brave little girl with her dog on Vermont steps, the last moment before everything changed. James called Margaret and told her everything. He read Sarah's letter aloud, explained the orphan train, Sarah's fight, her death in 1932. Margaret cried quietly. "My mother never knew," she whispered. "She always thought she was given away because she wasn't wanted. She carried that all her life. She was wanted," James said softly, "loved more than anything. I wish she had known," Margaret said. "I wish she read the letter. I wish she knew the truth." "She does now," James said, and that felt important. In December 2024, the Vermont Historical Society opened an exhibit called Separated: Family, Love, and Loss in Depression-Era America. The main piece was the 1931 photo of Elizabeth and her dog. Next to it was a blown-up part showing Sarah's face in the window, watching her daughter leave. Beside that, in a safe case, was Sarah's letter that never arrived. Hundreds came. Many were from families of orphan-trained children, some meeting for the first time. Historians and social workers came too, interested in the hard side of child welfare history. But most were regular people touched by the sad story of a mother and daughter parted by poverty and rules. Margaret went to the opening. She stood a long time before her mother's childhood PA, Otto, now understanding the silent pain Elizabeth carried for 90 years. "She kept this photo on her dresser all my childhood," Margaret told James. "I thought it was because she loved the dog. I never looked close enough to see the truth." James had one last thing. Through family research, he found what happened to the dog. Rusty died 3 months after Elizabeth left. Sarah wrote about it in another undelivered letter. "Rusty stopped eating after you left. I think he missed you. He died quietly in his sleep. I buried him under the apple tree. I know you loved him so much. I'm sorry I couldn't save him either." Margaret cried reading it. "My mother would have wanted to know that someone cared, that Rusty had a burial, that she was missed." The exhibit had panels about the orphan train system and depression policies that separated thousands of families. It showed how children were often taken from poor mothers, seen as unfit just because of money. Love alone was not enough without cash to prove care. By March 2025, when the exhibit closed, over 5,000 people had come. The photo of Elizabeth and Rusty appeared in news across the country. More descendants of placed children shared their own photos and stories, many learning the truth about their grandparents or great-grandparents for the first time. The photo that waited unknown in an archive became a way to heal and remember. It spoke for thousands of children taken from families, and for parents who never stopped loving them. James gave Sarah's letter to the exhibit with Margaret's okay. Before it went in the case, he made a copy and gave it to her. "Your mother never read this," he said, "but her grandchildren can. Her great-grandchildren can. They can know their ancestor loved deeply, fought hard, and stayed a mother even when everything was taken." Margaret held the letter close. "Thank you for seeing what no one else saw. Thank you for not looking away." "How could I?" James said quietly. "A mother's love does not fade after 93 years. It waits, and it should be seen." The 1931 photo of a girl with her dog seemed sweet until digital work showed a woman's face in the window, frozen in fear and sadness. That small detail led James Morrison to uncover the story of Elizabeth Morrison, taken from her mother Sarah in the Depression and sent to a farm family through an orphan train program. Sarah fought hard to get her daughter back and died trying at age 25. Elizabeth never knew her mother's struggle until 93 years later, when Sarah's letter, never delivered, was found. Some photographs do not just catch moments. If this story surprised you, imagine what other secrets might still be hiding in forgotten photographs. Subscribe to the channel for more true historical mysteries, hidden details, and powerful stories from the past that time almost erased. Form